Hello students, I'm Sai Baba here. So now I'm going to start the new chapter, rotational motion. The same chapter has slightly different headings in different books. In some textbooks it will be, the heading may be given as rotational mechanics or rotational dynamics, or it may be split up into two chapters in some of the books. The first part of the rotational motion may be given the heading rotational kinematics. That is the kinematics of pure rotational motion of the body. So here in rotational motion, first we'll be discussing the first part, that is rotational kinematics, which we call, that means equations of kinematics for rigid body performing pure rotational motion. So it is necessary for the students to go through my earlier classes in general circular motion before you go through this rotational classes in rotational motion. So it's necessary for the students to first go through the classes, to go through my classes in general circular motion, which earlier classes in basic uniform circular motion and general circular motion, before you come to these classes. So in this chapter, first I am going to discuss the basic distinction between pure translatory motion and pure rotational motion. At present, all of you please just concentrate only to listen to my discussion or explanation. Don't write the running notes when I am explaining to you. Just concentrate only to listen to my explanation. So I will be showing you the notes later in the PowerPoint presentation. I will tell you when you can write the notes. But at present, you just concentrate to listen and do not write any running notes. So at first, I am going to discuss the distinction between pure translatory motion and pure rotational motion. Most of the problems I have discussed in the past, Newton's laws of motion, friction, and collisions, and conservation of momentum, they all come under pure translatory motion examples, most of the examples. So in general, when a rigid body performs pure translatory motion, every particle of the body undergoes the same linear displacement in the same direction in a given time interval. So as we might have studied the definition for the term rigid body in the school level physics, so a body can be called as a rigid body if the distance between any two particles of the body does not change during the motion. If the distance between any two particles of the body does not change during the motion, we can call it as a rigid body. So unless specifically mentioned, we discuss all the laws of physics at present for a rigid body in rotational dynamics. So in general, we can say that a rigid body is performing pure translational motion if every particle of the rigid body undergoes same linear displacement in the same direction in a given time interval. Let us consider block of mass m sliding on a horizontal floor performing pure translatory motion. Let us consider two particles of the body, 2 points P and Q in the body. So the displacement of the point P in a given time interval same as the displacement of the point Q in the same time interval. And all the particles of the block undergo same linear displacement in the same direction in a given time interval. So, however small the time intervals may be. Therefore, the instantaneous velocity, which we write V bar equal to dr bar by dt. At any particular instant, the instant velocity V bar will be the same for different particles of the rigid body in pure translatory motion. It does not mean that velocity of rigid body remains constant in every example of pure translatory motion. The velocity of the rigid body may be changing with time. The velocity of the rigid body performing pure translational motion may be changing with time during the motion. What I mean is that any particular given instant of time, every particle of the rigid body will have the same linear velocity in the same direction. So, for example, at a particular instant of time, t equal to t1, if one of the particles of the body has a velocity of 2 meters per second, then velocity of every other particle of the body will be also 2 meters per second at that instant. Velocity of one of the particles changes from 2 meters per second to 4 meters per second in the time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1. And velocity of every other particle of the body also changes from 2 meters per second to 4 meters per second in the same time interval. That means every particle will undergo same change in velocity in the same direction in a given time interval. Therefore, the average acceleration is same for all the particles of the body in a given time interval, however small the time intervals may be. Therefore, when the rigid body performs pure translatory motion, we can say that at any particular instant, the linear acceleration A bar will be the same for all particles of the rigid body at that instant. So, in short, when a rigid body performs pure translatory motion, at any particular instant, the linear quantities V bar, displacement S bar, and acceleration A bar will be the same for all the particles of the rigid body. Suppose if we consider rigid body performing pure rotational motion, then every particle of the rigid body moves in a circle. Next, I am going to briefly discuss about pure rotational motion. So, when a rigid body performs pure rotational motion, then every particle of the rigid body moves in a circular path, but radius of circular path is not the same for all the particles of the rigid body. So, when a rigid body performs pure rotational motion, every particle of the rigid body moves in a circle, and centers of all the circles lie on an imaginary straight line called the axis of rotation. So, when a rigid body performs pure rotational motion, every particle of the rigid body moves in a circle, and centers of all the circles lie on an imaginary straight line, which is called as the axis of rotation. So, in the figure I have drawn, I have shown a rigid body, maybe in the form of a rectangular plate or in the form of blades of one of the blades of a fan. So, rotating about the axis perpendicular to play the diagram and passing through the point O. So, here every particle of the rigid body performing pure rotational motion will move in a circle, and the centers of all the circles lie in a fixed straight line called the axis of rotation. That means the particles which lie on the axis of rotation practically remain stationary during the pure rotational motion of the rigid body. So if you consider any two different particles of the rigid body, P and Q, which are situated at different radial distances, R1 and R2 from the axis of rotation. That means the first particle P moves in a circular path of radius R1, and second particle Q moves in a circular path of radius R2, which is more than R1. Then in a given time interval, the first particle P comes to the point position P dash. The other particle Q, suppose, comes to the position Q dash. So you can say that both the particles will undergo the same angular displacement theta in the given time interval. So when a rigid body performs pure rotational motion about a fixed axis, then in a given time interval, every particle of the rigid body undergoes the same angular displacement theta. So when a rigid body performs pure rotational motion, every particle moves in a circle, and centers of all these circles lie on a fixed straight line, which is called the axis of rotation. So in a given time interval, the angular displacement theta will be the same for all the particles of the body. But linear displacements are not the same for all the particles of the body. So as I was discussing, if you consider two particles P and Q, if you consider two particles P and Q of the rigid body performing pure rotational motion about a fixed axis passing through the point O, then in a given time interval, both the particles P and Q will undergo the same angular displacement theta. But linear displacement, magnitude of the linear displacement for second particle Q, which is situated farther from the axis of rotation, will be greater than the magnitude of the linear displacement for the first particle P, situated nearer to the axis of rotation. That means in a given time interval, the magnitudes of linear displacements are not same for all the particles. Therefore, at any particular instant, instantaneous angular velocity will be same for all the particles of the rigid body. So the instantaneous angular velocity, omega, can be written as d theta by dt. The d theta is the angular displacement of the rigid body during the infinitesimally small interval of time dt. So every particle undergoes, when a rigid body performs pure rotational motion, every particle undergoes same angular displacement in a given time interval, however small the time intervals may be. Therefore, instantaneous angular velocity omega will be same for all particles of the rigid body. So in general, as I discussed in general circular motion, if a particle moves in a circular path of radius r, then magnitude of the linear velocity of the particle at any instant is given by v equal to r omega. The magnitude of the linear velocity of the particle. Now, if you consider two particles P and Q, as I was discussing, at situate different distance r1 and r2 from the axis of rotation, then magnitude of the linear velocity of the first particle P at a particular distance can be written as V subscript P equal R1 into omega. The magnitude of linear velocity of second particle Q, situate different radial distance R2 from the axis of rotation, is given by V2 equal to Vq equal to R2 into omega. At any particular instant, omega will be the same for all particles of the rigid body. So if R2 is more than R1, then V2 will be greater than V1. That means when the rigid body performs pure rotation motion at any particular instant, angular velocity omega is same for all particles of the rigid body, but the linear velocities are not same for all the particles of the rigid body. So at any particular instant, magnitude of the linear velocity of a particle is proportional to the radial distance, means perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis of rotation. That means at any particular instant, linear velocity is maximum for the particles which are situated farthest from the axis of rotation. At any particular instant, linear velocity is maximum for the particles which are situated farthest from the axis of rotation. And linear velocity will be 0 for the particles which lie on the axis of rotation. That is V0 if R is 0. So when the rigid body performs pure rotational motion, at any particular instant, angular velocity omega is same for all particles of the rigid body, but linear velocities are not the same for all the particles of the body. But don't mistake that angular velocity of the rigid body remains constant for a rigid body in any example of pure rotational motion. The angular velocity of a rigid body in pure rotational motion, of course, may remain constant during the rotational motion in the case of uniform rotation. But in some examples, the angular velocity of the rigid body in pure rotational motion may be changing with time. So what I mean is the instantaneous angular velocity will be same for all particles of the rigid body at a particular instant of time. For example, at a particular instant of time t equal to t1, one of the particles of the rigid body has an angular velocity of 2 radians per second. As I discussed in the past, in general circular motion, angular velocity is expressed in radian per second. Then you can say that at that particular instant of time t equal to t1, every other particle of the rigid body will also have an angular velocity of 2 radians per second. Suppose if the angular velocity of the rigid body, angular velocity of particle of the rigid body changes from 2 radians per second to 4 radians per second, in a time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1. That means angular velocity of one of the particles of the rigid body at the instant t equal to t2, which we call final angular velocity, 4 radians per second. Then the angular velocity of every other particle of the rigid body will be 4 radians per second at that instant of time. That means for rigid body in pure rotational motion, the angular velocity may be changing with time. But at any particular instant, instantaneous angular velocity will be same for all the particles of the rigid body. And you can say that change in the angular velocity will be the same for all the particles of the rigid body in a given time interval when the rigid body performs pure rotational motion. Therefore, the average angular acceleration, we can write delta omega by delta t. The angular acceleration can be defined as rate of change of angular velocity of the body. So for the rigid body in pure rotational motion about a fixed axis, if delta omega is the change in the angular velocity in a time interval delta t between the two instants of time t equal to t1 and t equal to t, then average angular acceleration for the time interval delta t can be written as delta omega by delta t. So when the rigid body performs pure rotational motion, change in angular velocity will be same for all the particles of the body in a given time interval, however small the time interval may be. So if you consider an infinitesimally small interval of time, dt, then the instantaneous angular acceleration can be written as limit delta t tending to 0, delta omega by delta t. Or we write alpha equal to d omega by dt. So when the rigid body performs pure rotational motion, at any particular instant, instantaneous angular acceleration, alpha will be the same for all the particles of the rigid body. So as I discussed earlier, that when the rigid body performs pure rotation motion, every particle of the rigid body moves in a circle. The centers of all the circles lie in a fixed straight line called the axis of rotation. So let us consider two particles denoted by P and Q, situated at different radial distances R1 and R2 from the axis of rotation. So that R2 is greater than R1. As I discussed earlier, in general circular motion, if the angular velocity omega is constant, then the circular motion is said to be uniform. Then angular acceleration alpha will be 0. d omega by dt will be 0. So if the rigid body performs pure rotation motion with a constant angular velocity, then angular acceleration will be 0. Then any particle of the rigid body will possess only the centripetal acceleration or radial acceleration. The magnitude of the centripetal or radial acceleration of a particle situated radial distance r from the axis of rotation is given by r omega square or v square by r. Suppose if the angular velocity omega, if it is not constant, if the angular velocity changing with time, then the circular motion is said to be non-uniform. So I have discussed in the past, in the general circular motion, when the particle moves in a circular path with non-uniform speed, then circular motion is said to be non-uniform. So in the case of non-uniform circular motion, angular velocity is not constant. So the particle will have an angular acceleration, which is defined as time rate of change of angular velocity to the body. As I discussed in the past, for a particle in non-uniform circular motion, the resultant linear acceleration can be resolved into two rectangular components along the radius of the circular path and towards center of circular path and along the tangent circular path. The component of the resultant linear acceleration, which is directed along the radius and towards center of circular path. Now I am talking about one of the particles of the rigid body performing pure rotational motion about a fixed axis. When angular velocity of the rigid body is changing with time, that means circular motion is not uniform. The component of the resultant linear acceleration of the particle which is direct along the radius of circular path and towards center of the circular path, which lies on the axis of rotation, is called radial or centripetal acceleration. So, which exists both in uniform as well as non-uniform circular motion. The component of the resultant linear acceleration of the particle which acts along the tangent to circular path, we call tangential acceleration. So magnitude of this tangential acceleration is equal to time rate of change of magnitude of tangential velocity of the particle. This magnitude of tangential acceleration can be written as R into alpha. That means in the case of uniform circular motion, omega is constant, alpha will be 0, and tangential acceleration of the particle will be 0. So this tangential acceleration exists only when there is angular acceleration. Angular acceleration exists only when angular velocity is changing with time. So the resultant linear acceleration of the particle, in the case of non-uniform circular motion, will not be exactly directed toward center of circular path. So the resultant linear acceleration vector form, we can write A bar equal to AR bar plus AT bar. So magnitude of the resultant linear acceleration of the particle in non-uniform circular motion is under root of AR square plus AT square. So magnitude of the radial acceleration can be written as R omega square. Magnitude of the tangential acceleration can be written as R into alpha. So if you take here and within the root symbol R common, you can write R into under root of omega power 4 plus alpha square. So if you consider the rigid body performing pure rotational motion with an angular acceleration alpha, let us consider two particles P and Q situate different radial distance R1 and R2 from the axis of rotation. So at any particular instant, the values of omega and alpha will be same for both the particles of the body. So magnitude of linear acceleration of the first particle situated at radial distance R1 from the axis of rotation can be written as A1 equal to R1 into root of omega power 4 into alpha square. So magnitude of the linear acceleration of second particle Q situated radial distance R2 from the axis of rotation can be written as R2 into under root of omega power 4 in plus alpha square. So if R2 is greater than R1, then A2 will be greater than A1. That means when the rigid body performs pure rotational motion, at any particular instant, the angular acceleration alpha will be the same for all the particles of the rigid body. But linear acceleration is not the same for all the particles of the rigid body. So at any particular instant, the magnitude of linear acceleration of a particle will be proportional to the radial distance of that particle from the axis of rotation. Because at any particular instant, the values of omega and alpha will be the same for all the particles of the rigid body in pure rotational motion. That means at any particular instant, the magnitude of the linear acceleration will be maximum for the particles which are situated farthest from the axis of rotation. The magnitude of the linear acceleration can be taken as 0 for the particles which lie on the axis of rotation. So in short, you can say this way: when the rigid body performs pure rotational motion at any particular about a fixed axis, then if a rigid body performs pure rotational motion about a fixed axis, then at any particular instant, the angular quantities theta, omega, and alpha, that means angular displacement, angular velocity, and angular acceleration, will be the same for all the particles of the rigid body. But linear quantities S, V, and A are not same for all the particles of the rigid body. So at any particular instant, the magnitudes of linear velocity and linear acceleration are maximum for the particles which are situated farthest from the axis of rotation. Now there is a similarity between the equations of motion for rigid body in pure translatory motion, and there is an equations of motion for rigid body in pure rotational motion. I would like to just show a small comparison between the equations of motion for rigid body in pure rotational motion and the equations of rotation, equations of kinematics in rotational motion, which we call rotational kinematics. The equations of kinematics for pure translatory motion, which we discussed in the past. So the quantities, you can have analogy. That means the quantity in rotational motion corresponding to the linear displacement is the angular displacement theta. That is in the, you are already familiar with the equations of motion for rigid body in pure translatory motion. For motion a straight line with uniform velocity, and for motion a straight line with uniform acceleration. The same way, I am going to discuss similar equations of motion for rigid body in pure rotational motion, which we call equations of rotational kinematics. By showing the similarity, in place of linear displacement S, you find angular displacement theta in rotational kinematics. The quantity omega in rotational kinematics is similar to the linear velocity v in translatory motion. The quantity angular acceleration alpha in rotational kinematics will be similar to the linear acceleration in pure translatory motion. So as I discussed in the past, in kinematics, if a rigid body moves in a straight line path with constant linear velocity, then you need not copy all this. I will show you the notes separately. You just concentrate only to listen. I will be showing you the notes separately. Then its acceleration is 0. Then the velocity can be written as displacement. Standard velocity will be same as the average velocity, delta r bar by delta. Or in simplest way, magnitude of the velocity can be written as magnitude of the displacement by time interval, or we write as equal to Vt, the simpler way. That means mod of delta r bar is written as S, means displacement. Instead of delta T, I have written T. The same way, for rigid body in pure rotational motion, the rigid body rotates about a fixed axis with constant angular velocity, omega. Then we can say its angular acceleration is 0. And angular velocity, magnitude of angular velocity, can write simplest way theta by t. Theta equal to omega. Or sometimes write delta theta equal to omega into delta. Delta theta is the angular displacement in the time interval delta t. Or theta is angular displacement in time. Of course, omega is expressed in radian per second. Velocity is expressed in meter per second translated. Linear displacement is expressed in meters. Angular displacement is expressed in radian. Linear acceleration is expressed in meter per second square. Angular acceleration is expressed in radian per second square. So as it is discussed in kinematics, a body is said to move with uniform velocity if it undergoes equal displacements in successive equal intervals of time, however small the time intervals may be. The same way in pure rotational motion, you can say that rigid body is rotating with constant angular velocity if it undergoes equal angular displacements in successive equal intervals of time, however small the time intervals may be. As I discussed earlier in kinematics, if a body moves in a straight line path with a constant acceleration, then we can write instantaneous acceleration same as the average acceleration. A bar equal delta V bar by delta. Delta V bar is change in velocity in the time interval delta. What is said to be moving with constant acceleration? If equal changes in linear velocity take place in successive equal intervals of time. The same way, for rigid body in pure rotation motion, angular acceleration alpha is said to be constant. If equal changes in angular velocity take place in successive equal intervals of time, however small the time intervals may be. For simplest case, in linear motion, I mean for one-dimensional motion with constant acceleration, the scalar rotation, the linear acceleration will be written as Vf minus Vi by T. Vi is the initial velocity, Vf is the final velocity of the time interval T, or Vf can be written as Vi plus At. Similar equations of motion can be written for rigid body in pure rotational motion with constant angular acceleration. So angular acceleration alpha is said to be constant if angular velocity omega changes uniformly at a constant rate with time. So if alpha is constant, we can write, alpha is said to be constant if angular velocity changing uniformly with time. That is, equal changes in angular velocity takes place in equal intervals of time, in successive equal intervals of time, however small the time intervals may be. So angular acceleration alpha can be written as omega f minus omega I by T. Omega I is the initial angular velocity, omega f is the final angular velocity of time T. So omega f can be written as omega I plus alpha. As I discussed earlier in kinematics, for a body moving in a straight line path with constant acceleration, the linear displacement covered in time interval T can be written as S equal to ut plus half at square. Or we write S equal to Vi into T plus half at square, where U or Vi represent the initial velocity at the beginning of this time interval T, and S is the displacement covered during the time interval T. In the same way, for rigid body in pure rotation motion with constant angular acceleration alpha, the angular displacement theta can be written as omega I into T plus half alpha T square. So I would like to now summarize the entire discussion I have done so far in this class. Now, those who want to write the notes, they can get ready with their notebook and pen. I am going to show my notes in the PowerPoint presentation. Even though you don't intend to write the notes, you can please continue to listen. The summary of the entire discussion I have done so far in this chapter, rotational motion. That means I want to show the equations of motion also, of equations of rotational kinematics for rigid body in pure rotational motion. So come on, look at the screen. I am going to show you the summary of the discussion I have done so far in this class. Those who want to write the notes, they can get ready with their notebook and pen. I will once read out the conclusions of the discussion I have done so far in this class. So those who are writing the notes, they can take a pause wherever necessary, and they can take a pause after each slide or after each page. Then they can write the notes. See here, the heading is now distinction between translation and rotational motions. I will read out the summary. When a rigid body performs pure translational motion, the first conclusion, first point, every particle undergoes same linear displacement in the same direction in a given time interval. At any particular instant, the instantaneous values of velocity and acceleration will be the same for all the particles of the body. So those who are to write the notes, they can take a pause and finish writing the notes till this point. Next, I am going to show the continuation for this. When a rigid body performs pure rotational motion, Then first point, every particle moves in a circle and the centers of all the circles lie in a straight line, which is called as the axis of rotation. The next second point, at any particular instant, the angular quantities theta, comma, omega and alpha are same for all the particles of the rigid body. But the linear quantities S, comma, V and A are not same for all the particles. Come on, those who are writing the notes, they can take a pause and they can finish writing the notes up to this point. Of course, theta means angular displacement. As I told you, omega means angular velocity, alpha means angular acceleration. I'd like to show the continuation for this. That is the second point. I want to show the next point 3 and 4. Third point, at a particular instant, I mean for rigid body in pure rotational motion, at a particular instant, magnitudes of linear velocity and linear acceleration are maximum for the particle situated farthest from the axis of rotation. So at a particular instant, you can write V proportional to R and A proportional to R. The rigid body rotates with a constant angular acceleration alpha about a fixed axis. And the equations of motion are, the first equation of motion can be written as alpha equal omega F minus omega I by T, or omega F equal omega I plus alpha T. Those who are writing the notes, come on, take a pause and finish writing the notes up to this point. Next, I would like to show the continuation for this in my next slide. That is, I want to show the other equations of motion for rigid body. Pure rotational motion with a constant angular acceleration about a fixed axis. The second equation of motion can be written as theta equal omega I into T plus half alpha T square. The third equation of motion is omega F square minus omega I square equal to alpha theta, which is similar to the equation V square or Vf square minus Vi square equal to AS in linear motion with constant acceleration. And the fourth equation I have written theta equal omega I plus omega F by 2 into T, which is similar to the equation displacement is equal to average of initial and final velocity of a time interval T multiplied by time interval T. In the case of a particle moving in a straight line path with constant acceleration. And the fifth equation is theta equal omega F into T minus half alpha T square, which is similar to the equation S equal to Vt minus half A T square, or S equal to Vf into T minus half A T square applicable for a particle moving in a straight line with constant acceleration. Come on, those who are writing the notes, please take a pause and finish writing the notes up to this point. I want to show the continuation. So where omega I is the initial angular velocity of the body, comma, omega F is the final angular velocity of the body after time interval T, and theta is the angular displacement during time interval T. So in all these equations, theta is expressed in radian, omega is expressed in radian per second, alpha is expressed in radian per second square. In some of the problems, you may be asked to find angular number of revolutions completed by a wheel performing pure rotational motion with constant angular acceleration in a given time interval T. So in that case, you have to find the angular displacement theta for each one revolution completed by a wheel, rotating wheel which performs pure rotational motion about a fixed axis. Angular displacement theta can be taken as 2 pi radian. So if capital N is the angular total number of revolutions completed by the rotating wheel in pure rotational motion in a given time interval, then angular displacement theta for that time interval can be written as 2 pi m, or number of revolutions can be found by dividing theta with 2 pi. Come on, those who are writing the notes, they can take a pause. Please finish writing the notes. So in my next class, I will be discussing a problem based on this. Or if you want to try this problem, I will show the problem in this class, which I will be discussing in my next class. In case you have finished writing the notes up to here, they can try the problem which I am showing on the screen. Can take a pause and try this problem. But now the class duration is nearly completed. So I will be discussing this problem in my next class.